All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am back. Welcome to Bossy's Food Fight, and what do you want, Doc? I am back after a few months. Sorry, my pup's down here. Here, we'll let you say hi. That is Doc. He's a good boy. He's a big boy, but he's a good boy. So anyway, before we get into today's episode, I want to make a couple of announcements. First off, we are going to be doing things, I'm going to be doing things a little bit differently. So I'm going to go ahead and take you through the whole recipe for the entire dinner, but I'm going to post them individually so that if you don't want to watch all of them, you can watch one or two or whatever. After they're uploaded, I will then put them into a playlist, and that way if you want to watch all of them together, you can. I don't know why my camera's looking at me funny. Anyway, also the lives, I will not do any more live cooking episodes for the foreseeable future because it takes a lot of prep. It's also easier to do if you've got two people, and right now I'm not going to. It will be a rare thing. Also, I will be dropping the videos at the first of the week, and then at the end of the week we will go through and do a live so that you can ask questions, chat, whatever, but the live will be at the end of the week. So those will still be going on, just not while I'm cooking, unless I just happen to be at mom's and have the time to do it so that she's there to help. So anyway, today's recipe is going to be chicken and dumplings, yeast rolls, and a crustless cheesecake. So let's get into this. Again, you'll see that I'm having to do this all on my own, which is another reason why I'm not going to be doing any lives. So I'm going to try and set this where you can see. That's where I'm going to be rinsing the chicken off at. There's my stock pot. That is a 1 gallon or 4 quart stock pot. I'm going to be using 5 chicken thighs. I like to use the thighs because, I just don't think breast meat has all that much flavor to it, and it tends to kind of be dry and tough when you boil it. Breast meat really is not very good for boiling. Now, I've already washed my hands before I started the video. We're going to rinse the chicken. You don't have to. I always do. But you see how you got 4 nice hand-sized thighs here. We're just going to rinse them in cold water. Probably ought to have that on the other side from where you're rinsing them. And since I'm going to put them into the stock pot, I should have had them over there to begin with. So just rinse them out. This is going to be my grandma's recipe. So I'll show you how to start the chicken and what I do to it, and then I'll show you how to make the rolls, or the dumplings. Now, I will probably pause the video while the chicken is boiling because I don't do a separate stock. It all goes into the same pot. Which means once I show you how to make the dumplings and we get the chicken started, there won't be anything to see until the chicken's done cooking. And I won't make you sit and watch that, so I'm also not going to talk for like an hour and a half while the chicken cooks. Now, you can pressure cook the chicken. If you have an Instapot, you can do that, and it will take less time. I don't like to do that whenever I do chicken and dumplings because I'm going to use the water that I boiled them in as the stock for my dumplings. There. I can't keep track of my kitchen towels either. So I got the chicken rinsed. Now, I usually use, there it is. I usually use a 48 ounce or a 3-pound box of chicken broth. You don't have to, you can do just regular water, but you're going to need to spice it more. The brand, I've tried Swanson, I've tried all of the name brands. Quite frankly, there's not that much difference. There's really not. Alright, so we're gonna move over here. Yes, that's my new stove. I am so happy it's a gas stove. It's absolutely amazing. Get you guys tilted the right way here. So, I also usually put in some garlic, some bay leaves, an onion. And even though I am putting real garlic in it, I add some of the powder simply because it gives it a little more punch. It's a little more concentrated flavor. So, you know, that's that. We'll pour in the chicken stock. Now, if you get this in there and then you find that you need more liquid, you can either just go with straight water, or you can use bouillon cubes. Those are pretty high in sodium though, and if you have to be heart conscious like I do, you want to avoid as much sodium as possible. Although I do splurge sometimes just because, hey, you know. So you got, if you're doing a 4-quart, you want to do 2 bay leaves. That one was pretty big, so I'm probably just going to do a small one. I will try to measure everything out for you guys, because this was my grandma's recipe. I don't actually have it written down to be able to show you. Although I do have the dumpling recipe written down, so I will probably try and show you that. So, I'm doing a whole small onion. Actually, that's probably a medium onion. The onion is to your taste. I just do it because I like the taste of it in the chicken. Do about a tablespoon of fresh garlic. And then you're going to want about a teaspoon each of your onion powder and your garlic powder. Now on these, I can tell you McCormick is a brand that I use with my spices because, one, I found that they keep their potency longer and usually have a better flavor. So, now of course onion and garlic, any of the spices I'm showing you, they're to taste. This is thyme. Probably half a teaspoon. Okay, now we're going to want to pull this to the front. Add our chicken. Now, this is not going to be enough. Not going to be enough. So, I am going to add probably, well, I don't know, after I get the chicken all in it, it might be. You don't want to, so normally where your rivets are at, where your handles come into your pan, that shows you the water level. You shouldn't really get above the top of any of your rivets because that is where your maximum measurement is. I know a lot of people don't know that, but I actually looked it up. And you will find that fact in some older cookbooks. If you don't know by now, I do like to use recipes to begin with, but this one is pretty tried and true. My hands are going to need a lot of lotion after this. Ooh, that's water's hot. Ouch. Yeah. Alright, dummy, hot things are hot. I probably ought to move my glasses up there so I don't get them wet. Now, when I do the onion, because I don't actually want pieces of onion in this. The onion is for flavor. So, I get out a nice small chopper, thin blade, and I dice these small. I do, as a matter of fact, I do what most people call a fine dice. Because I want all of this to boil out into the water. I want it to boil down to nothing, basically. Because I just want the flavor. And to me, there is nothing better than the flavor of fresh onion. Unfortunately, it is rather mild, which is why you add the onion powder. Just to kind of punch up the flavor a little bit. You don't have to. If you're somebody who's got a sensitive stomach, I do not recommend the addition of the ground spices. Of course, you know, spices are to taste, but because of the kind of concentrated flavor of the powdered spices, they may upset your stomach. I'll show you what I mean by fine dice here in just a minute. I'm not sure if you can see. It doesn't have to be super fine because this is going to be cooking for a couple of hours. So honestly, as long as you don't just chunk it, it'll all cook down. Every now and then you may see me step behind the camera. I do not know how much record time I have, so I have to be careful about the amount of time I have on my phone for video. And if necessary, I may have to go clear some out. I may have to post this video and erase it because, you know, I'm doing it on my phone. It sucks, but it is what it is. I know some people might be going, oh, that's a lot of onion. Trust me. Just trust me, okay? I know I say that a lot, but if you've done my recipes, you know I generally know what I'm doing. So just trust me on the amounts. At least the first time. Now, if you want to go back this after you've tried it the first time and do what I do with some of my recipes, which is adjust them, absolutely, positively, feel free. Most people know that I will tell you, play with your food. Play with your food. Not once it's done and on your plate. Don't play with it when it's done and on your plate. That's just rude. But when you're in the process of cooking it, play with your food. Experiment. If you've got spices that you think would be better than the ones I'm showing you, try it. What's the worst that could happen? You lose a batch of freaking chicken and dumplings. Trust me, whenever you're learning to cook, you're gonna mess things up anyway. So, we want to get this not to a real high boil. This is gonna be a long recipe, which is why once I'm done showing you how to do the dumplings, I'm gonna pause for a while. Actually, hold on a minute. What I may do is show you how to move show you how to make the dumplings, and then we can, no, that won't work either because I want them all in one video. Anyway, I'm talking to myself, but I was going to go ahead and show you how to do the rolls. Those really need to be done no more than an hour before service, so I don't want to do them too much because, again, this is my dinner for tonight. For myself, my darling dear, and his cousin. I did not mean to make that sound that way. I like his cousin. He's pretty cool. Alright, so onto the dumplings, which we are going to move over here for. This is some more of my kitchen. Well, not my kitchen, but it's the kitchen I use anyway. I'm not going to do a walkthrough with the rest of the house, because I'm not the only one that lives here and I don't have permission to do that, so I didn't think to ask. But this is the kitchen. Plenty of upper cabinet space, although to get to those cabinets way up there, those cabinets up there, yeah, even I have to use a footstool. Yeah. But there she be. Alright, so on to the dumplings. Okay, so this is the dumpling recipe. Yes, I've used this quite a bit. I'm going to hold that there for a couple of seconds. That way anybody that wants to can stop and capture it. Okay. Now, because I forgot to do it before, I got to grab my measuring cups. And my measuring spoons again. As usual, you always start with your dry ingredients. Oh. Move the cabinet up a little bit so I can reach my sifter. Now, you don't have to have one of those. Oh, come on, you stupid wheels. Alright, you don't have to have a sifter. I use mine just because it seems to mix the ingredients in better. So, didn't mean to sound like Christmas bells there. I'll also take off that. Alright, so yes, I use a big bag of flour. When you see what we're making later, again, the rolls, you will understand why. So, that's 2 cups of flour, all purpose. Please do not use self-rising, because if you use self-rising and then follow the rest of the recipe, your dumplings are going to turn out more like drop dumplings. 2 teaspoons of baking powder. Oh, I'm almost out of baking powder, so I might as well just... Good thing I won't need that for my next recipe. Well, these might not puff as much as they normally would, but you do need 2 teaspoons of baking powder. And if it's available, I recommend this one. Again, just because I've used it a lot, it lasts for a long time. I don't have issues with quality or rise. It always does exactly what it's supposed to do. So, then you want a teaspoon of salt. Now, that says shortening, but you can also use lard, which is what I'm going to use today because I don't have any shortening. Let me make sure. Yeah, I got enough. Okay. I wanted to make sure I had enough for both these and the rolls, because the rolls are like fire. I love them. Okay, so I just, put it in there and you do the little twirly thingy here. Get it down off the sides every now and then, because it will build up. There's a little lip in there. I'll show you here in just a second. So, there, yeah, there you go. You can see it. There's a little lip in there, right there. Every now and then you just got to give it a smack. It's alright. Just smack it around a little bit. It's an inanimate object. It's not going to hurt it. Don't smack it too hard or you will hurt yourself though. Let's see. Let's see here. Oh, get. That was a sneeze, by the way. I did not just cuss. That was if I get the rest of my ingredients out, though, doesn't it? You all are more than welcome to laugh and go, "Gee, Cindy, what a dunce." See, this will make it, makes it a little easier. All right, now for this, you got 1/3 of a cup. So I just, ooh, don't hit yourself in the face with it. It doesn't have to be, you know, an even 1/3 of a cup. You're not trying to make them oily. I know, I just did that with my fingers. Be quiet. It's my kitchen. If you don't like it, don't worry about it. You're going to love the food anyway if you follow the recipe. Get off my finger. I am trying to, you know, I don't mind showing you guys my mess ups and my bloopers. It's all in good fun. I like making people laugh. All right, now this is where you get a little dirty. This is where you especially want to make sure that your hands are clean, okay? Because you are going to be just getting them all in there. Yep, you're going to mix that flour with the shortening. Now, I know there are things called cutting forks. You could cut it in with a spatula, which for baking purposes is one of these. Me, I'm like, you know what? I ain't worried about it. You know, we're gonna have the fun. Come on, we're cooking. It's a little messy. Gotta have fun with your food. If you can't get a little messy with it, then, you know, what's the point? Cooking should always be fun. Should be an experiment. Get your kids involved. They can learn their, I'm having trouble with words today. They're coming a little bit hard. Oh, yeah, your fractions. They can learn their fractions. Or, you know, if you use the metric system, their amounts. Anyway, their weights and measures. Geez, words, English. It's not my first language today, apparently. Alright, so once you get it mixed in where it'll hold shape, but see how it crumbles real easy like that? That's what you want. You don't want so much fat in it that they will not cook properly. You want them to bounce a little. You don't want them to cook apart. Alright, now, give me just 1 second. I'm going to go rinse my hands off, get flour off of them. Because if I leave flour prints on the milk bottle, I'll probably get in trouble for making a mess. And I ain't trying to get in trouble. So, I don't like being in trouble. How much time? Hey, you know what? We are cooking right along, ladies and gentlemen. Ooh, that chicken's starting to cook too, and that's starting to smell good. All right, so, again, we're fixing to put the milk in. We want this to be a stiff dough. Shut it. For all you dirty-minded ones out there, shut it. This is not time yet to make jokes. That time will come later. Although I say that, and as I say that, I am absolutely certain nobody's going to listen. Y'all are going to make jokes anyway. So, go ahead. This isn't live, so it's not like I can see you. Or can I? No, I can't. Okay, so, it says 1/2 cup. But I will tell you this. Just like with anything else, sometimes you have to adjust. Now, I would not do another 1/2 cup at this point. I would go with just 1/4 cup until you get the right consistency, which should be a stiff dough, but a dough that holds together. So, and also make sure you thoroughly mix them, because guess what? It doesn't matter if you mix this a lot and you get a lot of gluten in it, which is the thing that happens and makes bread stretchy. And that happens when you mix flour and liquid. I don't know all the science behind it, but I only know that that is what happens. It happens, and it's good that it happens. But you don't want it to happen too much. Which is, you don't want too much liquid, because then, well, you're going to have a batter instead of a dough. So, now, that turned out to be a full cup. Don't start with a full cup, though. If you want to start with more than half a cup, I would start with just a third. Because moisture content in the air and other environmental factors can affect how moist your dough gets. And how moist it needs to get or doesn't need to get. Right, you want it to look like that. That's a happy little mess right there. Right, put your milk up. Do not leave it sitting out ever, ever, ever. Because it can grow nasty germs and make you sick if it does. That's why your mom got mad at you when you were a kid and left the milk on the counter. She wasn't worried that you drank the milk. She worried that you were going to leave the milk out and let it get bad and nobody else could drink the milk. Alright. I'm going to put that away. Where is it? There it is. Is that one it? Yeah, that one's it. I have several rolling pins. I understand. It's an addiction. I'm good with it though. What am I doing? What am I doing? My measuring cup is already in my flour. See? I'm out of practice. That's alright though. We'll move our Mr. Sifter over here for now. Whoa, don't fall. Move that back a little bit so you can... Whoa! Oh, shit. Crap. I didn't mean to cuss there a little bit. Sorry. It's a school day. Your kids ought to be in school anyway, not watching me. But if there are any kids, sorry. I didn't mean to cuss in front of the kids. Alright, now you got your floured surface. You got your stiff dough. Oh, where'd my pizza cutter go? You don't have to have a pizza cutter, but I just recommend it because it would make it so much easier. See what happens when you put things away? You find them again. And any of the audio that is not coming out right, again, I'm sorry. I'm working on my phone here. Alright. Now, the next thing is, you don't want to, and you don't gotta, knead your dough. Don't do it. I know if you make biscuits very often, right now, you're going, oh, knead the dough, knead the dough, knead the dough. No, don't knead the dough. The dough don't need kneading. It needs rolling out. Oh, that is not mine. Nope, that's not it either. There it is. Now, you want to roll these out really thin. Like 1/8 of an inch or less. To get your strip dumplings. Now, this is where you're going to start either pulling flour off the counter like this, or you're going to start spilling flour off the counter in a minute anyway. You know, you're going to push it off the counter. Me, I've done that way. I'm just going to, you know, avoid that problem. We're just going to go ahead and do that. We're going to pull the excess flour off. Excuse me. So, how big you want your dumplings? There's no standard size to cut them. I usually try to get them between 1 inch to 2 inch squared, rectangular sort of. Really, honestly, when you roll your dough out like this, you're not gonna, well, you're not gonna get them all square anyway. So just try to get them all the same size. I'll say that. Cooking will be much easier. Crud! I did it again. Okay, so I just make a mess when I cook. We'll just establish that fact right now. For those of you who might not be familiar with me from other videos, I make a mess when I cook. But you know, it's not a mistake. We don't have mistakes. I'm like Bob Ross. I have happy accidents. I don't make mistakes. That's a lie. It's a big lie. I do make mistakes, but not when I'm cooking generally. So I like a little thinner dumpling. That's probably more than 1/8 of an inch rolled out, but you know, I don't like a mouthful of dough when I bite into my dumpling. I like it to be nice and tender. If anybody is interested, I got flour up my nose. Hold on, be back. Okay, I thought I was gonna sneeze. For anybody who likes drop dumplings, I do know a recipe for those. Those are the ones that come out like little bread dough biscuit thingies. I'm not real fond of those. They're chewy on the outside and kind of, well, they're kind of like a biscuit on the inside. I'm not a fan of those, so I don't normally do those, but if anybody's interested, my grandmother did occasionally do those as well, so I could do them. And I can show you guys how to do them. That would be for another day. And you are going to have extra little pieces at the ends. Don't worry about those. Put them in there anyway because they'll help thicken it up. As you can see, I'm not exactly Grandmaster Champion dough cutter here. Good thing I don't work for Pizza Hut or Domino's. I'd get fired. Now, you want to dust your little baking pan here. No, you are not going to put these, do not put these in the oven. These do not go in the oven. Don't do it. And then you just gather these up. Try and lay them out as flat as you can. Do a little bit of flour between each layer if you wind up having a double layer of them. Just so they don't stick together. Because, I mean, after you've gone through all the work of rolling them out and doing all this, you don't want to lose your dumplings to them sticking together. So, flour between the layers. And don't stick them in the oven. And don't put them somewhere that you're going to forget and stick them in the oven either. I'm giving you these warnings because, well, you know, why else would I warn you about something unless I've done it myself? Yeah. Now you will occasionally, if you're not careful, no matter how much you flour it, sometimes you will get pieces of the dough that are going to stick a little bit. Make sure that's the side that goes down on the floured surface of the pan. And that'll take care of that. So, I am going to finish this row here. I think you don't need to sit here and watch me, you know, plumping dumplings here. Shut it. That's not the word I was looking for, but I couldn't think of the other one. Plunking dumplings onto a pan. Not plumping. Because I know there's going to be some sicko out there with a mind just like mine. And they're going to make a dirty joke out of that. Congratulations. You've graduated. Alright. So we're going to push pause at this point, and I will be back in a few minutes. Okay, we are back. So I just thought about it. Honestly, other than shredding the chicken and dropping the dumplings in, there's not much left to this recipe. So I thought I'd go ahead and finish this video and get it put online. Now, later, as I get them done, the other videos will drop. So there'll be there'll be 3 videos dropped today. But I wanted to show you. So, we've got it boiling nicely. You want it to that kind of boil again or a little harder before you drop your dumplings in it. And they will fluff a little bit. They don't take more than about 8 to 10 minutes to get done. Especially these kind of dumplings. 8 to 10 minutes, that's it. Tops. When they're firm and not doughy anymore, they're done. So, you will want to remember to get the bay leaf out. You do not want to leave the bay leaf in once they're done cooking. When it's ready, like when the chicken is done, which remember, if you pull it out and it's not 100% done, you are sticking it back in to boil. Trust me, it will be done. But if you pull it out, you start to shred it and some of it's not done, go ahead and throw it back in. And let it get done, because you want to put the dumplings in when the chicken is out and let them get pretty well done. And that will give the time for the chicken to cool off enough for you to handle it. Because it will be pretty hot. Otherwise, you get you a pair of tongs, you get you a fork, and you pull it apart. Now, I like to do it with bone-in chicken. First off, I like it because, as I said before, it's more flavorful. But the bones also add some flavor and nutrition. There's a lot of minerals and stuff in them bones. Oops, sorry, I didn't mean to show that. As you can tell, it still needs to cook a little while. So, anyway, once you get the chicken ready to pull your chicken out, get your pot back to a rolling boil like it was when I first opened it up. Drop your dumpling in. Do not drop them in all at once. Try to put them in 3 or 4 at a time. Otherwise, they'll want to bunch up and ball up. Kind of stir it a little bit as you're dropping them in, and keep stirring for like another minute after they're all dropped in, just so they don't ball up. Put your lid on it, and then give it a few minutes. Like I said, 8 to 10 minutes tops for the dumplings to get done. By the time the dumplings are done, you can set the pan aside off the fire, shred your chicken, add your chicken back into it, let it cook for a few more minutes, and bada bing, bada boom. Once your dumplings are done, honestly, as long as your chicken was done before you pulled it out of the pan, you're ready to eat. But if you let it cook for a few more minutes, even up to another hour on simmer, it thickens up. So, the after cook time just depends on how thick you like your juice. Anyway, my loves, we'll go say bye to Doc. We'll say bye to Docky. That's my boy. Yeah, you hear some birds in the background. But that's my boy right there. That's my big boy. Alright, guys. We'll see you in the next one.